morning, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Sunday, March the 8th, and I am back in my borrowed kitchen. We have lots of bright sunshine and light, so I don't think you'll have any trouble seeing what I'm making today. And I am making what I have named the Trinity and the Pope homemade chili. So let's get started on it. I have already dumped a pound of ground turkey in my big pot. It was either this pot or about one about half that size, and I told Hasani, I don't think that one's big enough for my Trinity and the Pope chili, so he dug this one out for me. So it's okay if it's too big. I'd rather it be too big than to be too small and be boiling over. So before I get into it, I want to welcome all of my subscribers back today. It's so good to see you, and I know that a lot of you have been suffering and aching and paining from colds and flu and pneumonia and fevers, and I want you to know I've been praying for all of you and just hoping and just doing everything that I could in my power to bring you well wishes and just put it out into the world that God will heal you and bring you strength and energy. So I hope that you're up and about and you're feeling good today. And I want to welcome all my new subscribers to my channel. And if you're just passing through, if my video, Glenda Sully, popped up in your feed, I'll hit that subscribe button. And keep on coming back, because we have a lot of fun here. I do a lot of cooking. I tell a lot of stories. And we love and support each other. So let's get busy. I'm going to start this browning process for the ground turkey. So I will turn on my burner. Here we go. And I also have a pound of ground beef. And this does have some fat in it, because if it don't have fat in it, it ain't going to be fit to eat. Let's see, what does it say? 80% lean. If it's too greasy, then I can always pour some of the fat off as it cooks. So we want to brown our meat very well. So we'll get this started. Now, you know, the video that I made on Friday letting y'all know that I have a cold, and I just hadn't felt like doing much this week, but laying around and taking cold medicine and drinking my Symbicol and my elderberry juice, and taking my FX cold capsules and eating my emergency gummies. Although I'm not over it yet, I am better, and I am able to get into the kitchen today and cook up a pot of good old homemade chili. And I know that that will taste delicious to all of us here. I'm going to cook it for my family, Jill, Hasani, and the 2 grandkids. So I have to be careful about all the spices that I add, because Jill and Hasani don't eat sodium, or they eat very little sodium. And the children don't eat a lot of hot, spicy foods, although they are used to most spices. Let's see if I can find a pot holder here. And I will start stirring this ground beef up and getting it browned. I apologize for the glare, but I did go in there and close Jill's blinds, and there's still a glare. But it's got to be better than that dark basement where I had been cooking, and you couldn't hardly even see my face. Maybe that was a good thing. I don't know. Now I got to figure out which spoon I want to use. So I got to get this started, and I have my Trinity. I just have a varied selection of peppers here. I have the sweet red peppers, bell peppers, a little yellow, and I think there's even some orange pepper in there. I picked these up over at the Best Market over in Franklin Square the other day. And then I have my second part of the Trinity, which is my celery, and this is almost an entire bunch of celery. It's several stalks, and I did throw in some of the leaves too. They not only add color and nutrition, but they make it look beautiful. And then of course I have my onion, and if y'all have never owned one of these choppers, they are amazing. It just fits on here like this, and you just put your vegetable there on the little grate, and then you just, you know, go flap it down like that, and it comes out nice and chopped. Boy, it saves a lot of time, and it saves a lot of tears. So that's my Trinity. And then I have my Pope here. I have yet to cut up all my little pieces of garlic. I'll cut them up while I'm waiting for the vegetables to sweat a little bit after I put them in the meat. Even though I had this meat sitting out all day yesterday, I was kind of afraid it would get too warm. It didn't. So I put it back in the refrigerator, and now it's not thawed out enough. But if that's all I got to worry about today, then I'm in good shape, ain't I? So I know y'all have noticed my eyeglasses. Lord, y'all. I stumbled the other day stepping off of a curb, and my eyeglasses fell off my head and fell onto the concrete and broke. And they're pretty scratched up, and they could probably be repaired, but I've had them at least 5 or 6 years, and my eyes had just gotten to the point to where I just couldn't even see out of the eyeglasses anymore. So Jill was kind enough to loan me her credit card again so I can afford to go get me some eyeglasses. Seems like by the time I get one pair paid off, something else comes up and I have to borrow her credit card again. But my good friend Shauna in California said, just be thankful that you have it. So I'm thankful for Jill that she has good credit, and she has a kind enough heart to let her mother use her good credit, and I will pay her back in monthly installments. So I went online to find an ophthalmologist because I do, I guess you could say I'm pre-diabetic. My doctor likes to say I'm diabetic, but I'm not. I think my A1C is right at 6 or 6.1 or 6.2, which is borderline. So she has given me metformin 2 or 3 times to try to take, and I just can't take it, y'all. It upsets my stomach so bad to the point to where, I would just get this, boom, gotta go to the bathroom immediately without any warning. And sometimes I'm driving, and one time I literally had to pull off the side of the road and run into the woods and take care of business there. It's just awful. I just can't tolerate the side effects. So I have cut back a lot on sugar. I'm not eating the donuts and the Dairy Queen blizzards and all those wonderful things. So my sugar is pretty much under control. But because I have been diagnosed with diabetes, then Medicare is supposed to pay for my eye exam. So I called this optical place. They had a 5-star rating, and the doctor said they accept all insurances. So the doctor was only in on Friday and Sunday this week. So I drove over there and got there. Come to find out that she is not an ophthalmologist. She is a, what are they called? It's not optician, optometrist. She's the one that makes the lenses and everything. Well, I thought I was making the appointment with the ophthalmologist. So that was a wasted trip, more or less, except while I was there, they did tell me that I could go ahead and pick out the frames. And then they gave me a list of the ophthalmologists in this area, or on Long Island. There's several facilities where I can go and get my eye exams and my eye examination and then get the prescription. So I went ahead and picked out the frames. I just got a pair of just basic brown type frames, but they are so comfortable. They had such cute ones with rhinestones on them and little gold things on the sides, and I thought, that's going to probably tarnish after a while, and I need a pair of eyeglasses that are going to stay nice looking. And in fact, these are actually Fendi eyeglass frames, and they were on sale for $129. So they were their last pair, discontinued pair. So I took advantage of that sale. And like I said, when I put them on my face, it was like they were made for my face. So I do have my frames picked out, and they're going to put some new, stronger lenses for distance only in my sunglass frames. I have those, but they're so weak I can't see out of them either. So, because I did go there, even though it was a mistake, I can still just go see the ophthalmologist and then have them fax the prescription to the optometrist, and then I just have to go and pick them up. Because I can't see. These are the strongest reading glasses that they had. They're 275, and you know, I just can't see. But I'm meddling through, y'all, meddling through. So I'm gonna pause you now, and because this is taking a long time to brown, and I don't want this video to go on for 2 or 3 hours. I don't think y'all would appreciate that. So let me pause you, and I'll be right back. And the meat is brown. Let me show it to you. Nice and brown. So I'm going to add the Trinity and the Pope to this. I'm not going to brown my Trinity and the Pope. I'm just going to sweat it a little bit. I just because I am going to cook the chili about 3 hours. So all the vegetables are going to be well cooked. I don't need to brown them. So I'm going to go ahead and dump in all of my peppers. And y'all just use whatever variety peppers you have in your garden or is on sale in the grocery store. Anything from God's green earth is going to be delicious. So those are my peppers, and then I have my 2 onions here. And my celery. This is the Trinity. So let's go ahead and get the Trinity stirred in here very well. And get it starting to sweat a little bit. Every time I cook chili or anything in a big old pot, I think about South Mississippi and New Orleans. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, Lord, I want to be in that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Yay, go Saints! Of course, that's not what the song is about. It's a gospel song. Oh, so let's just let my veggies cook here for a minute. Like I said, I'm just going to let them kind of get a little bit tender, and we're going to talk a little bit. So, y'all, I had started you on my, let me turn it this way. Y'all, there's glare from every angle. Well, that's one good thing about Jill's house. There's a lot of brightness and sunshine and love and happiness in this home. But I was telling y'all about the nanny diaries about Mr. Crusty Feet and the Trophy Wife. Let's see, I don't even remember, y'all, where I left off. I don't know if we was at the condo in Greenwich, Connecticut, or at the beach house down in Lavallette, Florida, Lavallette on the coast of New Jersey. Every time I think about the coast, I want to call it Florida, but we know that there's a lot of coasts other than the Florida coast. But anyway, we were traveling back and forth between one of the residences, and the trophy wife had to always stop at Starbucks and get her Mucci Latte, Mandingo, Venti, whatever, flair. You know, one of those tall things with all the ice and caramel and sugar and everything in it. And she would put 25 packs, y'all, of Splenda in that drink. She was a Splendaholic. So she went and ordered her Mucci Latte thing, and then I got me a cup of coffee. I think back then they had what was called blonde coffee, and I like that because I don't really like Starbucks. I don't care much for their deep, dark roasted coffee. It's just way too strong for me. So, you know, she went over there and fixed her a Mucci Latte, and I got my cup of coffee, and so I go over to put my 3 packs of Splenda in it and my half and half, and there was no Splenda there. So I went over and asked the attendant, you know, if they had any more Splenda, and she goes, well, I just filled it up. So she came out and looked. She couldn't believe it, you know, that it was all the Splenda was gone. So she came back out and put some more Splenda in. She didn't fill it up that time because I think that she knew maybe somebody had taken it or something. So I got my Splenda, and so we got in the car. Like I told y'all before, he had a brand new expensive BMW. Well, it wasn't, I don't guess it was brand new. He'd probably had it. It was a late model. He'd probably had it 3 or 4 months because it had already gotten dirty. And we were starting to go into November and December. And he would not get the oil changed on it. He was very tightwad when it came to maintenance on the car. And anytime that we would stop and eat at a restaurant, he would not leave a tip, not even $1. He was just very tight when it came to those types of things. So we would be traveling, on the highway, and there would be snow and ice, and couldn't even see out of the darn windshield because he would not get the oil changed. He wouldn't refill the water container, the windshield washer container. So anyway, we were driving and trying to see, and I was in the back seat in between the 2 kids. We had the Max on one side and Ruby on the other, and they had their little screens where they were watching their CDs or whatever, the Disney shows. So anyway, we finally get home, and Mr. Crusty Feet, he goes into the kitchen and opens up his trench coat and just starts pulling out all those Splenda packets. He was the Splenda thief. Oh, Lordy. These people that live in these $1 million homes, and then they just, I'm not saying everybody that lives in a $1 million home is greedy and tight, but the ones that I have been the nanny for exhibit that type of behavior. But, oh, Lordy. How embarrassing to have to steal Splenda, or to think that you have to steal Splenda. I felt sorry for the girl at Starbucks because she knew she had just filled it up. So this is sweating really good. So let me go ahead and put my garlic in here. I have hardly, I meant to say nearly a whole bulb of garlic because we love garlic in this house. So I just chopped it. It's not very fine. Just chop it however your family likes it. Thin, thick, however, it doesn't matter. My recipes, y'all, are very forgiving. You can't hardly make a mistake with anything that comes out of Glenda Sully's kitchen. So y'all just take a look at all of this goodness in here. Yum, yum, yum. Can you see it? Baby Ife's taking her nap, but if she were awake and she smelled it, she would go, She's so cute. She's starting to talk a little bit and just mumbling and jibber-jabbering, and oh, I just love her so much. This move to New York has been probably one of the most difficult moves I've ever made in my life, and the most expensive by far. But, sometimes you have to make sacrifices and just do what you have to do to be near your family and to be willing to help your family. And I'm willing to make those sacrifices, and I'm going to get my YouTube videos back up and going on a regular basis and get my income coming in and hopefully get back on my feet. I'm in a little rut right now, so, but nothing ever gets Glenda Sully down. I come back fighting twice as hard with gritted teeth. So I think I don't think this has to sweat for too long because, oh, there she goes. I reckon I'm talking too loud. I woke the baby up. So I better go ahead and get my beans in here and my tomatoes and get this to where I can come to a stopping point because now I have to go take care of this baby. So I'm going to add a can of chicken broth. This will give it a lot of flavor. And I'll just wash out the can with some water and add this can of water. And I have 2 cans of Bush's dark red kidney beans. And some people drain the juice off of them, but I don't. My daughter does, but I think the juice adds flavor to it. And so I'm going to wash this can out and add a can of water. And then my second can of kidney beans. Yeah, it's a good thing I switched to this big pot because that smaller pot would not have been big enough. Y'all make sure you tuck your lids back down so nobody gets cut. One time when I was going to physical therapy, there was a woman in there. It was her second time in there, y'all, with a cut finger. She had pushed the garbage down and somebody had left a lid open and she cut her finger and had gotten it stitched up and went through physical therapy. And then the family member that done that did it again. And so that was her second time in there with a cut finger. So I have some Hunt's no salt added diced tomatoes. So I'm going to add those. 2 cans of those. I will leave the recipe in the description for y'all. Let's add some water to that. I always wash out my cans and bottles and jars or anything that's recyclable. I don't like leaving food in it because then it's going to sour and make your kitchen smell bad. Okay, so I got my tomatoes in there. And I have some parsley. I'm not going to add it yet. And I do have 2 fresh tomatoes. I'm going to cut these up and put those in there also. Like I said, just put whatever you want to in here. Whatever comes out of God's green earth is going to make it delicious and nutritious. Even good old home-cooked chili is healthy for you. Oh, my nose is starting to run. I just absolutely hate it when I'm cooking and trying to talk and film and got a runny nose. But things could be worse, so I really shouldn't be complaining about that. But I want to give a shout out to 2 channels. One channel is, I'm going to call it the Comeback Kid channel. And it is Sweet Twisted Joy. Joy she had a channel, I guess about a year ago. It was called Southern Sweet Joy, I think. And she had a little rough go there and hit a few bumps in the road. And then she changed it to a different name and tried to make a go of it. And Joy has a lot of health problems and some issues with her eye. And they're very serious, and so she's had some medical challenges and setbacks which affected her videotaping. So she took a break and kind of gathered her thoughts and got her channel back up and going and changed the name to Sweet Twisted Joy. And she's the comeback kid, and man, has she come back with a bang. So I will leave the link to Sweet Twisted Joy in the description below, along with a link for Melina Brock's cooking. Y'all, she made a cake, I guess back in the 80s, it was 70s or 80s, it was called the Better Than Sex cake. It's actually a chocolate caramel cake, and that's what she calls. She prefers to call it the chocolate caramel cake. And Lord, y'all, that cake looks so good. And it's so easy. So I will leave Melina. I can't pronounce your name, sweetheart. Is it Melina? Maybe you could spell it out for me the way that it's pronounced. She is staying with her son and daughter-in-law and babysitting 5 days a week. And she's trying to learn how to cook in an unfamiliar kitchen also. So go over and give her a little love. Like I said, she's an amazing cook. You're going to love her. So those are my 2 shout-outs for today. So I'm going to get my 2 big old beefsteak tomatoes cut up and put in this pot. And then I will season everything up. And then I will be back in about 3 hours with the finished product. So let me go ahead and get the seasonings in here. Although I have a lot of containers of seasoning, I'm not going to use much of each one because I'm using this packet of McCormick chili mix. Now this is the original flavor. You know, it comes in mild, medium, hot, all these different things. This has a lot of sodium in it already, so I'm not going to be using any added salt to my chili. I'm going to use my toasted onion and garlic, and this is called the Magic Seasoning Blend from Chef Paul Prudhomme, and these were gifted to me by my friend Shauna, who lives out in California. So I'm going to put in a few shakes of that. Not too much because most everything that I cook is measured by taste and not by teaspoons or measuring cups. And this is called the Magic Seasoning Blend, and this is the Creole seasoning. And this is excellent, y'all, because it has no added salt or sugar. So you can tell I've used a lot of it. And this was a nice set that Shauna picked out for me because she's a southern girl and from South Mississippi and New Orleans too, and she loves very well seasoned food, and of course she is concerned about her health. So she has been using these spices, and she was kind enough to send me a set and share them with me. So let me get over here and get my bay leaves and my Tabasco sauce and my secret ingredient. So I'm going to throw in about 3 bay leaves, if I can get them open. Y'all, how do surgeons do surgery with these gloves on? Lord, I can barely cook with them on, much less do surgery. So let's just put in a few bay leaves. But I have to wear them because y'all who have been following me for a long time know that I struggle with eczema. So it does leave little blisters and bumps on my hands and arms. And those little blisters pop, and then they turn into sores. And they look disgusting, and they are disgusting, and they itch, and they hurt and burn. But I've gone to 3 different dermatologists and tried all types of creams, steroid creams, prescription steroid creams, and ointments, and just cream, all kinds of lotions, and I just can't get it to heal. So I just put these gloves on, and although you can still see some of the sores and everything, you know, that's just life. I'd rather the sore be on the outside of my body than on the inside growing like cancer or cirrhosis of the liver or one of those diseases. So I'm fortunate in that. But the only way to get rid of the eczema is to go to an orthopedic surgeon and have my arms cut off from the elbow down. And I guarantee you that ain't going to happen in Glenda Sully. So I put in those spices. Let's add a little black pepper. Like I said, I'm just going to go easy on it because I don't want to overdo anything. Now the chili powder, I'll put that in last because I am going to go heavy-handed on the chili powder. Here's a little onion powder. A little granulated garlic. And then I'm going to put this Lowry's sweet, what is it? Southwest Sweet and Smoky. There's not much in here. I might as well just empty this out. It's just a little bit. Maybe a half a teaspoonful. And then I'm going to add the ground turmeric. This is supposed to help with inflammation, but I reckon I would have to eat the whole bottle because it hasn't helped my eczema. This is looking good and starting to smell good already. It's really going to smell good when I add in my cumin. How much is in here? Put the whole bottle in there. Well, it wasn't a whole bottle. It was about 1/3 full. Because chili does require a lot of cumin and chili powder. In fact, I may have to go to the store and buy some more cumin. And then I'm going to open up this side where I just pour in the chili powder, and this is going in next. I'll probably put in about 3 tablespoons. But it's looking good. It's looking like chili is supposed to look. And I just have to add my parsley. I'm going to add my secret ingredient, which is Lea Perrins Worcestershire sauce. So I'm just going to put in a few shakes of that. And this will just help increase the flavor. Just take it up a notch, y'all. And then I'm going to add my McElhenney Tabasco sauce. Just a few shakes of that. Okay, so I will show you what we have going on here, and then I'll be back in 3 hours with the finished product. Here we go. Y'all have a good afternoon, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.
So this is the finished product of the chili. You can see how much it cooked down in that big pot. It probably, well, I don't know when she started it, but it probably cooked about, how long, Hassani? 5 hours? Huh? You don't know? Nice and thick. And I got my Mexican cornbread in the oven, which is just the way we make regular cornbread, with added onions, jalapeno peppers, and corn. It could be the frozen corn or the canned corn. I prefer to use the frozen corn. Bon appetit!